Hello everyone, it's Luke Plays to Earn here to walk you through the research report on the NFT gaming project Parallel and why Balthazar has never been more convicted in a GameFi project. Should be exciting, so stay tuned. Balthazar is very excited about the upcoming NFT gaming project Parallel, giving it really high marks in terms of lore, a extremely detailed white paper, and one of the most experienced blockchain game teams out there. While Parallel is going to be much more in the future, it's going to start out as a trading card game. Just like most trading card games that we've come to know and love, there will be multiple different types of decks to choose from and some universal cards that can be used in any of the 5. However, a thing that sets apart this project already from the multiple trading card games out there on the blockchain is that it's going to implement AR and MR. Parallel will bridge the gap between playing against random opponents online and playing in person versus a friend. Honestly, this sounds really cool to me. Imagine just playing Hearthstone online against random opponents, and then I see my friend John over here in real life, and we both have cards, and we can just pull out our phones, and now all of a sudden, it's like a tabletop game, and we're playing Magic the Gathering again like I did as a kid. Implementing those both aspects would be really cool. The 5 different decks that you can choose from in Parallel are not random, they actually have some deep lore behind each one of them. The premise of Parallel is that humanity was in a bad state, and when they were trying to save the Earth's planet, actually what they ended up doing was putting radiation across the planet where it was not inhabitable anymore. 3 different tribes were sent out from the Earth to survive this radiation and find other places that were inhabitable and that they could survive. Eventually, after these tribes spent many years away from the Earth's mutation throughout the radiation actually healed itself and became a great harvesting of energy and resources. These 3 tribes, spending so much time apart from each other, are now all headed back to Earth, where they are all staking it as their own to claim. There's also 2 different tribes, one that stayed on Earth and mutated over time, and one that was sent out into space long ago. Now there is a massive conflict between these 5 different tribes and types of people, including Earth Radiant mutants, a tribe that's half machine, half man, people that use science and reason and built drones to survive, a tribe of people that have to clone themselves after eating too many GMOs and losing the ability to procreate. And then another tribe that was sent out into space, almost got sucked into a black hole, and then their molecules got all shifted around as they were trying to escape. And that's just me trying to summarize this research. Balthazar's research team was not joking when they said this is one of the most in-depth lores that they've seen. And I agree, you can go read this whole thing. It's a pretty cool story so far, and this is just the start from what I know. And so I'm interested to see how do they keep developing these 5 different tribes and how they conflict with one another. And not only is the story awesome, but just go look at some of these NFTs. Honestly, these are some of the coolest NFTs that I've seen for any GameFi project so far. And trust me, I've spent an entire year glossing over different white papers of NFT gaming projects. Parallel so far is pretty dang impressive to me. While the NFTs look really cool, I do hope they put out more information soon about how some of these NFTs will function. The research shows that the card stats will be subject to change and balancing when the game is live. As someone that buys up a bunch of NFTs for different card games, I am a little bit nervous about that sometimes because if a stat gets changed too much where it was powerful at one point and then isn't anymore, that can really take away some of the value and price of the NFT that you're holding. So the team needs to be careful about how they do that. They also have 2 different options for introducing new cards to the game, which they haven't landed on one of them yet. The first system that they are thinking about is an oracle that will monitor the amount of demand and systematically put out new cards when it reaches that requirement. The second version would be players spending their Prime tokens and spawning new NFTs. If they go that route, they're going to implement a system where if you are winning games, that cooldown for creating new NFTs will get lower, so it encourages players to still play the game and not just craft new NFTs. However, personally, a player-driven NFT creation does concern me in some ways. We've seen a lot of games do this wrong, where players just continually breed new NFTs to the point where the supply outmatches the demand by a ton and prices continually drop. The team is yet to choose which one they're going to implement. Personally, I'd rather see them do the algorithmic card continuum, but if you want to see the full details, just go to the research report. You can see how these 2 different ideas might work out according to the team and to the research. Lastly, I do want to mention that there is a chance to test the game through apparitions for potential players who are still not convinced or can't afford to buy a deck of cards. If you know anything about me, I love to have games that have low entries, so I'm excited that they're implementing and thinking about the player that might not be able to invest hundreds and hundreds of dollars into this game straight away. Of course, you will be earning a lot less of their Prime token if you go this route, but to make a sustainable economy, that is something that they have to do. Speaking of which, you can check out their tokenomics in the research report. I thought there were some really interesting things for their Prime token, like taking the spent tokens and instead of just burning them, actually replenishing some of the pool so that they have years to come of people playing to earn and getting that Prime token. However, that does mean that even though the Prime token has a limited supply, that for the first couple years, there'll be more printed than other years. So don't expect it to pump right away unless there is a huge demand for this token. Now, the really special thing about this project is that yes, it's a card game for now, but they have a lot more planned ahead. As I said earlier, they're going to be implementing augmented reality to the trading card game, but also want to bring that to life in other types of games as well. Their version of the metaverse is less about a virtual world on your computer, but more about overlaying the parallel world to the one we live in. If they can achieve that, to me, that would be really cool, whether that's on our phone or as they say, something like maybe Google Glasses ahead in the future. That would be really cool because I would rather see that happen than all of us living in our closets with a virtual reality helmet on 24/7. I don't want to lose completely every aspect of the real world around us. Now, I must admit, some of that seems pretty far out and some really big project pieces to tackle, but if anyone can do it, the team and the backers that they have is pretty impressive for this project, so maybe they can actually pull it off. They have an impressive list of people who have worked for Ubisoft, Riot Games, Blizzard, Epic Games, and backers, even including Chad Hurley, who was a co-founder of a little platform called YouTube. They also made an announcement of partnering with Superconducted, founded by the Russo brothers, which brought us a small little title called Avengers Infinity War and other Marvel movies. With that kind of team and backing to their name, I'm really excited to see what is ahead for this project. According to Balthazar's research, Parallel's potential is out of this world. As a trading card game, it will set the standard that will be hard to match just with clever tokenomics and play-to-earn aspect. But then they have the next-gen augmented reality technology on top of that. You know what? I gotta agree with Balthazar's research team here. There are many exciting things about this card game and what is beyond for Parallel. However, I will caution you that before you jump over to the white paper and FOMO in all of your life savings, just know that it is easier to write things down on a white paper and say all the right things. It's much harder to implement them when it comes to launch time. Personally, I'll be watching things as this project moves ahead as far as how do they figure out the ETH gas fees and will they bring in a layer 2 solution? Which method do they go for minting new NFTs and how do they balance bringing in new players to the game while still holding value for the old players and investors? And finally, how much enticing utility can they bring to the Prime token so that players will actually want to spend it rather than just extracting it and taking it out of the ecosystem? Who knows though, hopefully we'll be playing this card game online soon and then you and I maybe one day can even meet up, take out our phones, play this game augmented reality on a tabletop, or maybe we're even pulling out something like a Google Glass and putting them on to explore the crazy parallel lore in this world around us. Whatever happens with this project though, there is a lot of excitement ahead, so I would definitely recommend reading through that full research report to get to know more, as well as following Parallel on their website and their social media. For now, I hope you have a great day. Peace out, Palalam, adios.